Hey guys, it's Amanda and welcome back to Storytime with Amanda. So today's video is going to be a little bit different from normal story times. We ended season 2 back in October, I believe, maybe beginning of November. And I had said that I was going to take some time for the holidays. I was going to spend some actual real quality time with my family, with my kiddo, all that stuff. So I kind of wanted to take a moment to catch you up on all of that and what's transpired. Today's video is, like I said, it's gonna be a little bit different. It's not filmed in my car, mainly because I don't feel like driving around right now. And it's cold. I don't want to waste the gas. So we're in my garage. There's the car. So we are with the car. We're just not in it. So I'm going to try to make this video not as long and lengthy. I'm going to catch you up on our Kelly, our new dog Kelly. So at the end of season 2, episode 10, I left off, I left you guys with us getting a new dog and all the fun little things that we're dealing with her. Kind of gave you a little bit of a backstory, but not a whole lot in detail, which I will give you today. But I'm going to go ahead and forewarn you. This video will be triggering for some people, whether that's a trigger on the topic or a trigger emotionally or a trigger that brings up some sort of, I don't even know, the word trigger sounds so terrible, but I'm just gonna go ahead and be honest that today's update is not exactly the most fun update. It's really sad, it's emotional. I have Kleenexes here because more than likely I will cry. I have everything written down on 7 sheets of paper. It's actually a Facebook post that I'm going to read aloud to give you the update, because I believe it was the week after the last video is when this happened. And I just haven't been able, I guess, emotionally to handle doing the update, but I'm gonna try today. So today, I'll go ahead and tell you, today is New Year's Eve, so it's December 31st, 2019. So if y'all are out having a good time on New Year's, you won't see this until Sunday on January 5th, I think, is Sunday. But so that's kind of giving you a timeline on when I filmed as opposed to when you're going to be watching this. So just with it being the last day of the year, I felt like I needed to get this off my chest to kind of let 2019 go, if that helps explain anything. I won't go into a whole lot. I'll try to keep this video, like I said, I'll try to keep it short and sweet. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in to reading from the pages because I don't know that I can tell the story and not miss a detail without just reading it directly, because there's so much involved in it. But I wanted to be upfront. Let me sit the camera down so that way I can, okay. All right, that way I can actually get to the papers properly. So we got Kelly on October 18th. We got her from a local shelter that we always adopt from, and we work with them as far as volunteering efforts. I actually own my own LLC business, which has several different entities within it, but the business itself actually has a division that works directly with animal shelters. So this is a big deal for us. We absolutely adore fur babies. they're just like children to me. Obviously they're fur babies, so I don't treat them like children, but I love on them as I would children. So this is hard for me to talk about, but I don't want to start a season without always going back to what happened in the last episode of the season before. Because like when you're watching a TV show, they always say previously on. So I try to keep with that, because it is kind of like watching a TV show with my life. So anyways, I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling and I say a lot, so I'll try to move through this without that. But so all of this takes place on November 14th. It was a day before we had her for 4 weeks total. So that kind of gives you a time frame of how long we had her. So obviously you can tell that we don't have her anymore. But I'm going to tell you why. So this first page doesn't really have much info on it. So I will go ahead and just get right into it and start off. So fur baby update. So this is what I posted again on my personal page. I don't just allow people to follow me on my personal page, but that is why I make these videos, because it's just easier to translate the funny things or the sad things or the wild and crazy things that happen in Amanda's life with Storytime with Amanda. So, and Kelly was a part of that. So starting off, fur baby update. I explained the entire evening and what transpired in great detail. If you are at all squeamish, you may want to stop here. So I'm going to go ahead and let you know if anything to do with death or losing a loved one or losing a fur baby or dealing with diseases like cancer or any of that trigger you, please stop the video now and just wait for the next video, because then I promise the next video will be so much better than this one. It won't be sad, okay? So here we go. Last evening started like any other evening. Arrive home, walk the dogs, feed all the animals, put our things away from the day, prep for the next day, cook dinner, eat, watch TV, play with the animals, and get ready for bed. At 9:45 p.m. last night, while getting ready for bed, I found our Kelliee Lita unresponsive in my bedroom. She had 4 different mounds of vomit trailing toward her location, was not breathing, and had no heartbeat. She still had her doggy dress sweater on, so I immediately removed it and started performing mouth-to-mouth and doing chest compressions on her. When I finally felt her pulse and breathing start up, I picked her up and moved her where I could better assess. She was lethargic, unable to move on her own, and her eyes were glazed over. It was at this moment that panic started to set in and my mind started racing, so we headed up to the emergency pet hospital that was 10 minutes away. At 10:10 p.m., we arrived and checked into the hospital. They immediately took her back and began checking her vitals. We were finally given a room at 10:40, where we got to see a nurse, give a detailed account of the evening, have her situation assessed thoroughly, and given a prognosis and a step-by-step look at our night. She had been diagnosed with hemorrhagic gastroenteritis, or HGE. HGE is similar to parvovirus with its symptoms, but it isn't contagious to other animals. Instead, it is bloodborne and bacteria-based. HGE can come on suddenly without any type of warning at all. Also, HGE has a low chance of survival if not treated at the right time. And we were given a grim chance for Kelly. By 11:50, we were preparing to head home while leaving Kelly for overnight observation. Before we left, we were given the opportunity to say goodnight and see her. So of course we went in there. We got to see that she was in a room in a kennel. They had her wrapped in a warming blanket. She was hooked up to all kinds of machines and IVs, but she saw us, okay? And I could tell in that moment that Kelly just wanted us to let go, okay? Now, I didn't say this to my daughter. but I could tell that she was ready to go. So I already knew what was coming. We say goodnight to her and head home and try to sleep. Mini-Me is upset, but manages to sleep due to exhaustion. I, on the other hand, have seen nights like this before when she was an infant, full of worry and stress, so I can't sleep at all. At 1:30 a.m., the vet called to let me know she had gone into cardiac arrest 15 minutes prior and had been resuscitated but was intubated now. She would need to breathe on her own in order to be declared better, so I started praying that a miracle happens and saves her life. At 2:20 a.m., the vet called back to report that Kelly was in fact breathing on her own at this point, but would remain intubated a bit longer to be sure. A sonogram showed fluid on her lungs and bloating in her stomach. In her stomach lining. The thought was maybe she had gone into anaphylactic shock, and that sparked the turn of events this evening. Although it's not known for sure, all the possibilities start to line up. It's not exactly the great news, but it's enough for the vet to seem hopeful. The vet let me know what the next steps were and proceeded to give her the next round of antibiotics that they were going to try. I try to get some sleep at this point. At 3:54 a.m., the vet calls and has an update. Kelly has gone into cardiac arrest again at 3:15 a.m. They performed resuscitation efforts for almost 40 minutes, but her little body just couldn't handle it. When the vet noticed her eyes graying, she said she knew it was time to stop and call to let us know. She was gone. We had lost our baby girl. I'm sorry. I'm a really ugly crier. I'm sorry. At this point, I was on the phone still. And I just immediately lost it. And the vet immediately lost it. So both of us are boohooing on the phone. I can hear the staff in the background crying. When we left, we were the only animal that was alive that was in there. There were a lot of other people that were putting their animals down. So that particular evening, Kelly was the only dog or the only pet that was in there that they were having to actually try to keep alive. So from what I've been told now, it was extremely emotional for everybody. So, and I know I'm not crazy for crying, but anyways, let me get back to this post. She was gone. We had lost our baby girl. How am I supposed to explain this to my daughter? Kelly was her dog and hers alone. Kelly was her Yang and she was her Ivory. They were just playing earlier in the evening. We were all cuddled on the couch watching TV. This isn't right. Kelly didn't get a chance to live long enough. She wasn't given a great start in life before we rescued her. Her story is extremely dark and horrific. We were her third official home, fifth home overall. Her original owner decided to use her as a breeding dog and leash returned her when she was of no use to her. After a year and a half. She had been kept in a cage at all times and never knew human interaction in a positive way. Her second home returned her because they were moving. And of course, I understand that happens. But why would you move somewhere that you can't take a dog? If you have a choice. I understand some people don't have the choice. But still, I'm not going to get on that soapbox. Of course, they admitted she was also an outside-only dog, too. She had never been inside from the heat or the cold. When we found her, she was scarred, extremely scared, reserved, and malnourished. She only understood Spanish commands and had difficulty doing normal dog things like running or playing with toys. We were working on these things and she was progressing well. We were one day short of having her a total of 4 weeks now. In such a short amount of time, Kelly brought so much joy to this house. She made my daughter smile from ear to ear when she came into the room. She brought laughter and fun to all of us. Our hearts are broken. I hope that she knew how loved she was. Oh, sorry. I hope she knows how much we will miss her every day now. I hope she's running around in heaven, enjoying the sunshine, getting belly rubs from family members with her, and watching over her girl here. We just left the emergency pet hospital about an hour and a half ago. It has taken me that long to put into words what has happened. All we have left is her pink collar and her blanket from last night. When her ashes are ready, we will have those too. I can't handle this. So it happened on November 14th when we found her. She died on the 15th. No, it was the 13th and the 14th. We've since received her ashes, obviously. That was about a week later. And that was an emotional day too. I'm not even gonna lie to you. When I got the call that her ashes were ready, this is not in the paperwork. I called my daughter and I asked her if she wanted to go with me. And of course, she just lost it. She was like, I can't handle going up there. Can you just get her? So I went and I got her and I brought her home. And of course, it's in a beautiful light oak box because she was this really, really light cream tan color. So we got a box for her urn that looks just like her fur color. And she's hanging out on our bar all the time. So it's kind of weird. But they had also taken some of her ashes and some of her fur before they like fully encased it or whatever, and they put them in a candle, which is so bizarre to me. But when we burn it, it smells like Kelliee. Like, you know how dogs have like a dog smell? So when we burn the candle, it smells like Kelliee in the house. Like, it's super weird, and at the same time, it's kind of comforting. And I know a lot of people are probably going to give me a lot of flack for saying that. But I don't care because it's my life and it's not harming anybody else. She's dead. Let's be realistic. It is her ashes that I'm burning in a candle. So get over it. But yeah, unfortunately, we did not get a long time with Kelliee. In case you don't know, or you didn't see the last episode, she is the biological sister to our male dog, which just is so bizarre to even be able to have them both at the same time. But it was still pretty great. Kelliee was a support dog. She was a support dog for PTSD, which, if you know me personally, you know that I had earlier this year been diagnosed with PTSD, but I didn't tell a lot of people. My daughter had been too. Hers is manifested differently than mine did, but she was really struggling with some things and wasn't able to cope with general things in life daily. And I reached out. When they reached out to me, I asked them if they could train her and get her certified, and they did. So she was thoroughly attached to my daughter, which worked out perfectly for her. But anyways, I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna cut this off because this has been way too emotional, and I'm sure everybody's tired of looking at me cry and snotting, and it's just not a pretty look. But stay tuned for the episode 2 for season 3. So this is season 3, episode 1. Stay tuned for episode 2, like I said, because I got a big surprise for everybody, and I think you guys are gonna love it. So in the meantime, until I see y'all next time, don't be a grown man bully and spread kindness like glitter.